Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a review of the Thieaudio Hype 2. This is a new IEM at $299. Fills that mid-tier range in terms of that price bracket. It's got two dynamic drivers, two balanced armatures, and it does have a full resin build that actually is very comfortable and does remain quite relaxing during long gaming sessions or long listening sessions. I never had any pain around my ears or in my ears. And the faceplate does have a really cool appearance to it. I think it's actually similar to some of the custom faceplates that you used to be able to get from Let's Shore, and it looks like one of the custom faceplates that you can put on the Monarch MK3. The shell is smaller than the Monarch MK2, it's smaller than the Monarch MK3, and the price is obviously a lot smaller than those sets as well. I do think that it lacks in technical capabilities when you start comparing it to the Monarch MK3. But for $299, this is a listening experience that is something that you kind of get with the Monarch MK2 in terms of its sub-bass and mid-bass presentation. It's a sub-bass that gets enough rattle in your jaw and the back of your neck to really feel that impact and feel that punch, and the bass doesn't get bloaty. It's a very fun listening experience and one that has a beautiful low end that just feels great for bass guitars, kick drums. In game, when you're getting to things like Valorant, you're shooting a Vandal or you're getting those explosions, it just sounds so damn fun and so damn good without that bloat. It's really amazing how much you can hear in the mid-range, which actually remains smooth from that bass into the mid-range with male vocals and then getting to female vocals. I don't really get a great sense of airiness, but certainly a sense of just beautiful smoothness across the lows to the mids and vocals that just sound so damn good at $299. Probably one of the best listening experiences for if you're looking for entertainment like action movies, explosions. But if you're looking for something that has a little bit more airiness and a little bit more for that J-pop type thing, I don't necessarily know that this would be the recommendation I would go for. But again, if you're looking for all different types of genres, this really does fill a wide array of listening experiences, except maybe classical and something like orchestra, where you're looking for maybe more air between the notes and more air between wind instruments and things like that, string instruments and some of the upper harmonics. I think the Zen's top is kind of a prime example of a sense of airiness that you can get with those things compared to something like the Thieaudio Hype 2. The unboxing experience is very similar actually to a more expensive set like the Monarch MK2 and the Monarch MK3. It's quite actually the same box that you do get with those sets. You get your carrying case. The cable comes coiled around that part of the inner box. And then you do get in the carrying case, you get silicone tips and foam tips and a cleaning cloth. Very typical to what you get on the much more expensive sets. You guys can see the cable here. I don't really prefer this cable, but I do think that it is fine for the price point. In terms of the Thieaudio Hype 2 in game, you would think that that listening experience would carry over. And trust me, I crossed my fingers that it would carry over into gaming at a price point of $299. I wanted these to work so badly, but when you compare these two things in the same price range, like the Orchestra Lite, which is actually $50 less, the Yanyan Canon 2, which is $50 more, and even the EM6L, which is significantly less, and my number one budget IEM pick right now at $110, you really hear the flaws from a gaming perspective with how much more airiness you can even get on the EM6L and separation and layering in game. And likewise with the Yanyan Canon 2 and even the Orchestra Lite. The Yanyan Canon 2 swapping from the Thieaudio Hype 2 in something like Valorant and Apex, it is almost immediately noticeable how much stage you pick up in terms of verticality. One of my biggest issues with the Hype 2 is that the verticality almost ended at my forehead or just over my forehead. I never had that feeling of somebody really truly being above me when they were 2 floors above me or on a mountain above me. And in games like Apex, where there is a lot of verticality, you obviously need to rely on that sense of airiness and depth over you and in front of you. The other area that I felt this lacked compared to the Yanyan Cannon 2, and again, something that I felt almost instantaneously, is that the depth perception in-game feels a little off. When you get to a certain distance, for instance, let's say an enemy is far away, you get that sense of airiness between you. But when somebody gets from that point at a certain distance between you and that person, as they get closer and closer and closer, once they get to a certain distance, the depth perception just began to feel off and a little bit more hard to perceive. Something that is actually readily noticeable in something like Valorant. And for the most part, you start to play in a deathmatch or in a game, a match in Valorant, and things sound pretty good. But then all of a sudden, the more you play, the more hours you put in, you start to notice these things. And it just falls too far behind these three sets. The EM6L, I didn't stress this enough in my review of the EM6L, but it really does compare and compete to something like the Orchestra Light and the Yanyan Cannon 2 in terms of a competitive experience. It's light, it's airy, it's got this brilliance of depth in game, especially at its price point. I do think that when you get to something like the Orchestra Light, you get a better sense of stage. It feels a little bit more emphasized, and you get a little bit more urgency with audio cues. But for $109, the EM6L is absolutely brilliant and far surpasses, for competitive gaming purposes, the Thieaudio Hype 2. I think because there is just too much that I would put before the Hype 2 on my Wallhack certified tier list, and because that verticality just falls completely flat to me, I would not be able to put the Thieaudio Hype 2 on my Wallhack tier list. Again, from a music standpoint and for tonality and the tuning of these sound absolutely brilliant for music. I would pick these 10 times out of 10 over these other options for a music listening experience. But if I wanted a mix of that, I would probably go for the Yanyan Cannon 2 because it sounds great in music and it works fabulous for gaming. Even the EM6L, which is a quite different tuning than what you get with the Thieaudio Hype 2, of course, sounds really nice for music as well. So I really think that all of these options perform well for a crossover, and the Thieaudio Hype 2 really just excels past these for music, for entertainment, especially, again, if you're looking for that impactful sub bass. But for gaming, because of that depth perception, because of that lack of verticality going well above your head, I would not be able to recommend the Thieaudio Hype 2. The Thieaudio Hype 2, again, probably the best thing in this box of IEMs for a music listening purpose, especially up to $299. But again, I just can't recommend it and put it on that Wallhack certified tier list. I hope that helps, guys. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.